I grew up in a church. I was a youth pastor before, and I just kind of got to a point where life felt as if though it kind of had fallen apart. I actually had a brother who was killed when I was a sophomore in college. I actually come from a family history of mental health, of depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. When my brother was killed is when I started to see that depression really hit me hard. I remember walking into the chapel in Akron where I went, and walking back out because I was just like, you know what, God, I'm done. I don't know how you could let this happen to me. And I wasn't able to wrap my head around how you could take my best friend. Was sitting at home, I was going through a serious depression that kind of had overwhelmed me and kind of had spiraled out of control, and had planned on committing suicide that night. I had set everything up. I had written a letter, and I was scrolling through my phone on Instagram. Elevate stood out. It was the first thing that popped up, and that's kind of what brought me back to Elevate that night. The worship was amazing, and I remember just kind of being in my own world, and at that point I was just desperate. At the end of it, Minister Brandon asked if anybody needed prayer, to come up and get prayer. We had an altar call, and I came up, and Jamil actually prayed with me, and I told him, I said, I plan on committing suicide tonight. The prayer that he prayed for me was like a prayer of strength, a prayer of wisdom. And then I joined a small group that night, which was amazing. Like, it was an amazing kind of moment where God said, I'm not done with you yet. Even throughout everything that I was going through, I had to remember that God really was there, that during those times I was weak, but in reality, God was preparing me for something greater than even what I thought I could be. I thought seeking mental health treatment was a negative thing. I thought I would be frowned upon against my colleagues, my peers, the church. And for a long time, I was like, I can't go to a counselor. I am a counselor. And where I am now is, no, I trust God to provide the correct person or the correct tools for me to be able to grasp onto them and utilize them. And so looking at me now as somebody who does most definitely strongly believe in every word that is in the Bible, but at the same time, I also believe that God will provide the correct doctors and the correct psychiatrists and the correct medications to really be able to stabilize me and to be able for me to be who He truly wants me to be in this season. My name is Jonathan Henry, and this is my testimony.